Nathaniel, welcome.
Thank you for having me, brother.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I like to start with I'm a dad. So I'm a husband and a father. That's priority number one for me.
Mhm.
I am a real estate investor. We met through the Sub 2 community. I joined Sub 2 almost 3 years ago at this point, after going through some other mentorships.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always lead with husband and father. Like those are the two most important things to me. Everything else kind of revolves around that.
Yeah, true. 100% true. Um, yeah, so what are your avatars in the real estate world?
So when I joined Sub 2, I was a direct to seller visionary, kind of this typical CEO role. I was a closer. I still am a closer. I don't do that as much these days. We have pivoted at the beginning of 2024. We pivoted from wholesaling and flipping houses to being buyers. So we were buying creative deals across the country, primarily to hold as co-living spaces. So that's my kind of avatar number one. The main avatar is buyer. Right now, we are also just at the beginning of this year starting to get back into some flipping now, just to get those pops of cash and be able to take some deals down ourselves without using private money lenders or partners.
Mhm.
But yeah, I still close deals for people when they have, difficult sellers or difficult agents, just challenges that they can't overcome. I'm also a leader and a helper inside the Sub 2 community. I have a local meetup that I run. I'm in South Carolina, but our big city is Augusta, Georgia. So I run a meetup here in Augusta, Georgia that has grown to outside of the Sub 2 community now. So we have some people that aren't in Sub 2 and just come and hang out. But I feel like I'm rambling at this point.
No, it's you have a lot of relevant information that answers the question, so
Okay,
thank
yeah.
you. So I got a question for you because when I first got started in real estate, I was solely buying, like I wasn't doing anything else.
Mhm.
Come to realize like living off of landlord income isn't the most stable.
Yeah,
So you're using co-living as a way to become a buyer, but also create cash flow. Is that right?
correct. Yeah.
Mm,
We've found that a lot of the deals that we see creatively nowadays don't make sense to hold as like long-term rental, your typical
mhm,
long-term rental. And so by being able to add a bedroom or a few and then charge by the room, it takes a let's just say $1,500 a month long-term rental and makes it $4,500 a month. It like triples
mm.
your income on the property. So it does raise your expenses a little bit. But because you have that larger spread, you're able to cash flow and bring in all the properties that we've bought so far have been with a private money partnership. So we're bringing in partners into these deals because the spread is big enough that it makes sense for them to come in and also for us to keep and operate.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest challenges, especially now. Like 4 years ago, you could buy anything and it would not only appreciate, but it would cash flow really well.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge challenge now. So what are some challenges when it comes to co-living?
Well, the first off is the biggest one is finding a property manager. Because we buy these things all over the country, finding a property manager that not only is willing to, but capable of managing, five or more people in a house, is a challenge. A lot of property managers, they don't want to do that. They just want a long-term renter that they can set and forget, and basically in a year they're going to come check on it if all is going well. Um, so I would say that that's probably the biggest challenge when it comes to, for us at least, when it comes to co-living, is like finding a good property manager that is going to handle business.
Yeah, so you're not on the pad split platform?
We don't do any pad split yet. We have a couple of reasons why, but
Uh,
yeah, we just just the co-living model itself has been working for us, and um, yeah, to not have to pay pad split to do whatever they do.
yeah. So you're buying nationwide. I mean, that to me presents a lot of challenges too, because if you're buying, one in Austin, one in Dallas, one in Chattanooga, you have to build a team in every single area. Like this, I mean, how do you deal with that?
That's that's a I don't think we would be doing it if I wasn't part of Sub 2. Because the community is so huge now.
Mm,
When I joined, I think it was like 5,500 people or something like that, and we're up to like 15,000. Unless you're in a really, I don't know what a great word for it is, but like podunk place where you're like
mm,
really outside of where anybody's living. There's
yeah,
people in Sub 2 that are there and are want to be boots on the ground. They know contractors, they know realtors, they know property managers. So everything I've done with the community. Um, just being able to go, hey, I got a property in San Antonio. Who knows a contractor in the area that can go walk a house? And at the very least, it's giving me one or two people that I can call and vet myself. I'm not just gonna, I've made the mistake at this point
mm,
of going, oh yeah, go ahead. You got the deal. Somebody in sub two said it's you're good. No, I'm still vetting them, but
mm.
yeah, it is a challenge, but having a nationwide community like sub two is what it makes it possible.
Yeah, something that yeah, this is my third, I guess, coaching program mentorship,
Okay.
and one of the things that they talked about was community, but none of them come close to what Sub2 is.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so before co-living, were you in real estate? Like, what were you doing?
Yeah, I've been in real estate since 2008. No, wait, 16. Yeah, geez Louise, it goes back a
Mhm.
ways.
Uh,
Technically, I technically bought my first investment property in 2016.
mhm,
It wasn't supposed to be an investment property. It was supposed to be a primary home, but like 2 weeks before we were supposed to close on this house, my wife got a job an hour and a half away. And we were like, yeah, we don't want to do that. So we ended up taking this house that was going to be, it was our first house that we were going to buy kind of together.
mhm.
She was my girlfriend at the time, but the path was to marriage was we were already on that path.
Uh-huh.
But it was like a 7 acre property, just single family home out on the outskirts of Oklahoma City. It was exactly what we were looking for when we left Southern California, like space, spreading our wings in a sense. And then,
Mhm,
like I said, she got this job an hour and a half away, and it's like, okay, now what? We had in the back of our minds we wanted to be real estate investors. We wanted to buy
mhm,
properties and hold them for long term. So, okay, let's just do it with this one. It's not the ideal, um, first long-term rental that you're going to have is a property on the outskirts of the city on 7 acres with like a creek and a horse, all these things. But it did pretty well for us while we held it. We don't hold it anymore as a
mhm,
regret of mine. But um, with that, once I had finished renovating that and got it rented out, that's when I started going direct to seller. I'm a control freak in a sense, and I don't like, I like to be able to have, yeah, the most control over the deal as possible. And having an
mhm,
agent that I talk to that's going and talking to another agent, and then that agent is talking to a seller, like I wanted to cut out those pieces. And so I found you can actually go direct to seller at that time. So I started that in 2017, the direct to seller kind of model, and didn't quit it until 2023, at the end of 2023.
No.
Yeah.
I've tried direct to seller. It's very
Yeah,
challenging.
it can, yeah. I, the control aspect of things, like I'm saying, and I don't mean control from a control
Mhm,
but like the telephone game where you're talking to an agent and then that agent's talking to another agent and like
yeah.
things get lost in translation. I want to have direct access to the seller and be able to find out, hey, what the heck's going on? What are you
Mhm,
actually running into? What's the problem that I can come in here and solve?
yeah.
Now, that being said, going direct to agent has its benefits because now I'm talking to one person that can, instead of doing one deal, which typically most direct to seller deals is a one-off deal.
Mhm,
With direct to agent, now I can leverage one person and have them be a deal finder for me. And now I go find 10 of those and that's how you scale your business, right? Jamil Damji, uh,
yeah.
yeah, that's what he's made a career on. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Um, while you were talking and talking about co-living, so I have like 9 properties that I
Okay.
want to unload, or actually I was thinking about unloading just because I the management, the administrative work is is too much for me.
Mm,
Plus the cash flow isn't, it's $300 to $500 per door, which is great, is better than being negative.
right.
But what would it take? So let's just say someone was in my position and has houses in Huntsville, Chattanooga, and Baltimore.
Okay.
Uh, if we wanted to bring them to you, if someone wanted to bring them to you to potentially partner and convert them into co-living, what would something like that look like?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't been asked that before. I guess first we'd want to look and see if co-living is a viable option there. I
Mhm.
think the three cities that you mentioned are pretty larger metros, so I think that probably most likely it's going to be a good option. You would want to look at see how many bedrooms do we currently have and how many bedrooms do we think we can add. Typically, with the co-living properties that we've done, we're taking out communal space. So think
Mhm.
like living room, any like office areas. We just want kitchens and bathrooms and bedrooms
Mhm.
mainly. If I say that with like a little bit of an asterisk because if we're going to be targeting a university, a college like campus area, we want that community space. These are
Mhm.
students that are going to kind of grow together, but typically with co-living properties, these are single individuals that they're either going to stay for a few months in this house or they're going to stay for a year because they just don't they can't afford a house on their own or they just don't want a house of their own. They're not interested in the community of this house. They just want to come here, have a place to cook their food, go to the bathroom and get ready for work and freaking lay down at night or watch Netflix or whatever, play video games. Like,
Mhm.
they're not interested in that. Uh, yeah, as a partnership perspective, I guess we'd have to talk through a lot of the just what ifs, like what's going to happen, what are things going to look like, who's going to be doing
Mhm.
what happens if, or like what are we going to do if this happens? That's
Mhm.
the crux of entering into any partnership is you really want to front load all those issues or things that you can think of that might come up. That way, if something does come up down the line, you've already talked through that scenario and it's in writing and there's nothing that's, going to ruin that partnership. Of course, there's going to be things that you don't think of, but if you've talked through a lot of different scenarios, a lot of the times you can just lean on, well, I know this isn't exactly what we talked about, but this is kind of
Mhm.
relative, so
Yeah.
um yeah, I guess that would be talking um like kind of entering into a partnership conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We might have something to talk about
Okay, yeah.
after this.
And if nothing else, like I said, I'm a helper.
Mhm.
I know that there are people out there that would say figure out a way to monetize your helping.
Mhm.
And maybe down the line I'm going to do that. But if
Yeah.
there's not a partnership and I can just kind of give you some pointers. I know that you mentioned like, hey, it's a lot for me to manage, so maybe that's not what you're looking for, but if I can just help you out in some way, that goes to you and anybody else out there listening. Like that's what I want to do. I want to help people because people have helped me.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat where like I like to help people
Yeah.
and I know it's like taking away from revenue generating activities, but I just like helping people.
Yeah.
How to monetize it, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. Like create a partnership. Yeah, okay, we could create a
Yeah.
partnership, but I don't know, sometimes that's adding another thing to my plate where I could just help you out and you can go do it and
Mm.
now I can get back, it's a tough thing to balance though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, getting into this business, what's like the biggest mindset issue that you've had to overcome?
That's really tough. Because there's so many. I think that a lot of people, I guess, kind of twofold start when you're getting started is I want to know everything. And so like trying to learn everything before just taking action kind of leaves you at the starting line a lot of the times.
Mm.
And so like I feel like it's Steve Trang maybe that said this, or I read a quote from recently, but like I'm he's very quick to like learn and implement.
Mhm.
learn and implement. Like go take action before you're ready. So that's something that I see a lot of people early on is like they just spend a bunch of time on YouTube University or freaking in Zooms trying to learn all the things and go, well, I don't know step seven yet. Dude, you're not going to know step seven until you get through step one, two, three, four, five, six.
Yeah.
Because I can talk to you on a Zoom all I want about step seven, but you're not going to understand it because you haven't been through step three yet.
Yeah.
So like go out and take action. And then another big one, and it's not really, I guess it's kind of mindset, is just the shiny object syndrome. So many people come in and they're like, I want to do direct to seller. And then they call sellers for 2 weeks and they haven't gotten a deal yet. And it's like, oh, I'll do direct to agent. And then they do that for 2 weeks. Like,
Mhm.
just, just give yourself at least a month. I usually say 3 to 6 months of working at something. It doesn't have to be direct to seller or direct to agent. It could be networking with people because I have some money set aside that I want to lend on EMD. Go out and network with people, but give yourself enough time to have built up habits, skills, because when you're starting something new, you're gonna suck at it. So you've got to give yourself some time. It's very, very true, especially in the direct to seller model, is that if you don't give yourself 3 months, you haven't allowed your pipeline of sellers to fill up because
Yeah.
the lead cycle, the cycle of a deal is 3 to 6 months typically. Yeah, I
Mhm.
could pick up the phone and the very first call I make become a deal,
Mhm.
but it might take me another 6 months to get my next deal. And that first phone call, I probably didn't really build up a whole lot of skills to actually be able to do deals consistently. So you've got to
Mhm.
stick with something for some time and allow yourself to build up the habits and the skills necessary to, because it's a long game. I know it sucks out there. We all want these like get rich quick schemes, but real estate is not get
Yeah.
rich. It's like get wealthy super slow. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I tried my hand at wholesaling, I had heard all these stories. Oh, week one, got a deal. First month, got like two deals,
Yeah.
made like 90 grand in assignment fees. And so I thought, oh, that's just how it goes. But
Right.
no, then I hear after I stopped wholesaling, I hear Pay say it takes at least 13 touches or on average 13 touches just
Yeah.
to get one deal. And some could take 2 years, 3 years. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Since we've stopped wholesaling, it's funny. I just had like 2 weeks ago somebody reach out because maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, but in order for me to shut that off, I deleted everything out of our CRM.
Uh,
And so I just had somebody a few weeks ago, like a random number, texted me and say, "Hey, are you still interested?" Like they were picking up the conversation in their text thread,
yeah.
but mine was gone. And so I'm like, I don't know. Let's just see let's start pulling at the string here. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the 13 touches is something like, hey, they weren't interested. And then click, hang up, and then they're gone. I'm not going to touch them again. No, no, no. They're just not interested right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Who knows what 6 months from now is going to be, but who knows what even 3 weeks from now is going to be. Maybe they were just really busy right now and they were just saying something to get you off the phone.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I still get all these postcards saying, do you want to sell your house? And,
Yeah.
you know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I would have said, it's like, no, but now I'm
Right.
actually open to it. I'm not going to sell it to a wholesaler, but,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
but
But it's got
yeah,
me thinking, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
To touch
s-
on the mindset thing too a little bit is like I still struggle with it. I don't know if you do. I would guess that even people like freaking Pace Morby do is imposter syndrome and like feeling that, you mentioned other people are doing deals and I'm not doing deals or
mhm.
like, right, Pace just bought a 400 unit apartment and I haven't even done a 10 unit yet,
Yeah.
right? Comparing yourself to other people starts to make you feel like you're not doing good enough. What I've found that really helps that is, I don't know if you've read the book. Oh man, The Gap in the Gain. I
Yeah.
lost it for a
Uh-huh.
second.
Yeah.
Uh, like being measuring yourself from where you've been a
Mhm.
month, 3, 6, 12 months ago
Yeah.
compared to where you're trying to go, that's the freaking ticket right there. So yeah, that's just a
Yeah.
little mindset.
It's funny because we just talked about imposter syndrome in the interview I did yesterday. And I read The Gap and the Gain probably 7 months ago, 8 months
Yeah.
ago, and I completely forgot about that. Like, because again, I'm looking at people that are doing lending like Abraham Gray,
Mm.
right? He's got like it down to a science where he's never going to lose money.
Yeah.
And then I look at what I'm doing, was like, am I doing it? I can't compare myself to Abraham Gray. I have to compare
Right.
myself to who I was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
imposter
like
syndrome.
it's you want to, right? I want to be able to compare myself to them in a sense because I want to be able to learn from them and see what they're doing. So I want to
Mhm.
compare like my systems, my
Right.
processes to them, but not who I
Mhm.
am, like what I'm where I'm at right now. Because
Yeah.
you mentioned Abraham Gray, and I don't know how long he's been doing the lending thing, but let's just say it's been 3 years, and you've
Mhm.
only been doing it for 3 months. Well,
Mhm.
God, he's got 10 times the amount of experience. Of course, he's doing more than you. But
Yeah.
can I take from him now and condense that 3 years maybe into a year for
Mhm.
myself? And now, so I don't want to compare and despair, compare where they're at to compared to where I'm at. I want to compare what he's doing to what I'm doing and see how I can
Mhm.
get to, follow the path of least resistance to getting there. So,
Yeah.
it's easy in sub two. I found
Mhm.
myself doing it too. Like, man, that guy just joined a week ago and he already got a sub two deal. What the heck am I doing wrong? But yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to do that.
Yeah. What was it? Comparison is the thief of joy. I
Yeah,
butchered
yeah.
that quote, but
No, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so one thing I want to talk about, because I had your partner on, Zach,
Hmm.
and I've gone through probably 5 or 6 partnerships, and none of them have worked out. Like, I've tried being a partner, I've tried being like the CEO and bringing on people underneath, and it just has not worked for me for whatever reason. So how did you and Zach explore this idea of being partners? And yeah, how did you explore that option?
Yeah. I met Zach. Zach is one of the first people I met in sub two, actually. um, years ago. He was maybe 3 or 6 months had joined ahead of me. I'm not sure though. Don't quote me on that, Zach. Uh, but it we actually went like a year and a half without connecting, which is a separate thing that we can talk about as well. Um, but he came on my podcast and we reconnected because we were both in two different coaching programs. Yeah, we were both in the same two different coaching programs. One with Creighton Bertrand, where it was just like mindset and personal development, and then more of a business focused coaching. We did a lot of mindset and personal development in that too, the Growth Co. With
Mhm.
Jesse Stanton. And so we reconnected that way. And I thought, hey, we really like Zach. We jive from a lot of different areas, family first, fatherhood, fitness, and health. This is a guy that I would like to do real estate deals with. And so I was thinking partnership in that regard. And
Mhm.
then I think it was maybe May of June of 2024, we said, "Hey, let's do a fitness challenge. Like it's something we're both passionate about. Let's put this fitness challenge together. Maybe it'll bring people in the real estate community to us and we can do deals with them." Like, so
Mhm.
that's what we were thinking. And 4 or 5 months go by after we did this fitness challenge, and it's just we're staying in touch. We're chatting once every week or so, and like this burning desire, I guess, for us, this passion of the health and the fitness, and then melding it with fatherhood, because we're both dads. His son is around the same age as our second son.
Mhm.
We have a 4-year-old, almost 2-year-old, and we
Mhm.
have we just finally had our little girl. She'll be 3 months now. Um, Oh, and like, yeah, in like a week she'll be 3 months old. So
Wow.
like, yeah, melding those things together, it just kind of, I would say the stars aligned in a sense. Um, are we the best partners from a like yin and yang perspective? Potentially not. We could use like an integrator for sure. We're both a little bit more on the visionary side, but from a just like distributing workload, we both are very we have the same like vision and goals for what we're doing. That side of the partnership, where we're freaking the stars are aligned on. Yeah. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean it
Sideways.
does because I always viewed partnerships as you need a visionary and you need an integrator.
Yeah.
In my case, I feel like I'm both, and I think it's kind of like a cop out when people say that. But you know, I I enjoy like these kinds of conversations, getting to know people, and out going out and raising capital. But then I also like creating efficient processes. I don't like setting them up. I don't like doing the work, but I like coming up with ways to solve that. And so, am I an integrator? Am I a visionary? Don't know. So,
Yeah.
that is, yeah, creating a successful partnership. I guess it doesn't really have to be visionary integrator. You can have two visionaries as long as you have ways to complement each other.
Right.
Is that how
Well,
it goes?
and like when we think of two visionaries from, I just keep using the direct to seller or direct to agent,
Mm,
standpoint is like those two visionaries want to be on the phone
yeah.
all the time. And like that's great because you're doubling your work, but like who's taking care of the back end stuff?
Right. Yeah.
Um, Zach and I have done a pretty good job up to this point as of like distributing visionary workloads. So
Mm,
Zach is more doing a lot of social media stuff,
mm,
whereas I'm doing a little bit more in the community, building the community stuff because Zach still has this W-2, so time is constrictive for him.
yeah.
Some places. So we do like, we have a couple coaching calls inside the community that are after hours for both of us. So it fits both of our schedules, but we also have just like which I got off right before this is we have a coffee hour every week where it's just come in and hang out and like
Mm,
let's just chat about what's going on. No real agenda. That's not like a coaching call. It's just come and hang out and build the community together. Zach with his W-2, he's not always able to do that. So
mm,
we need somebody to be able to continue to facilitate that. So it's scratching both our itches in a sense, right?
mm,
We each
yeah.
get to do it. Yeah. So.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I guess like I had tried to create a community. I'm still working on it. Have not put a ton of effort into it, but creating community, the amount of work involved is not talked about. It is very challenging.
Yeah.
I guess anything that you do where you're trying to build something from scratch is just a challenge.
Yeah. And you know, it took us a little bit to land on school. We ended up going through school
Mhm.
for the Fit Fatherhood community. And
Mhm.
part of that is part of the thought process with that is because we don't have an integrator, the systems are already pretty built out for it.
Mhm.
It's pretty drag and drop or like, plug and play, so to speak, as
Yeah.
far as like, oh, here's how you add a coursework. Oh, here's how you add a new tab. It's really easy. It's
Mhm.
not like trying to build something out through Go High Level, right? Where I need somebody who's going to be an integrator for that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you like school? You like the school program or platform?
There are things that I don't like about it. But, I think that goes with pretty anything. But as far as like, yeah, just a plug and play system, it's pretty great. I mean, it's got everything from, how to market the thing to how to take payments through it,
Mhm.
all kind of built into it. The one thing that's freaking lacking is there's no way to do an affiliate. I can't create an affiliate link for our community inside of school. You have to do like some roundabout thing,
Uh,
which I need an integration. Yeah. But it seems
yeah.
like, from Alex Ramosi, I don't know how familiar you or, your audience is with Alex Ramosi. Like one of the things he preaches in $100 million leads is affiliates.
Mhm.
And so it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like an oversight. Alex, if you're watching out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Alex is spending
Yeah.
his time
Yeah.
watching my program.
Yeah. You never know. No, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because yeah, school is something that I've been thinking about. I've heard a lot from like Ryan Schroep and I think Alicia Carter does it as well.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cool how you can put videos and material on there.
Yeah.
Um, I just are you actually monetizing that or is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. We just started charging for it. So we started free, tried to build up a little bit of a little bit of community from just people we already knew. What we
Hmm.
found is like you get what you pay for. It
Hmm.
almost
Yeah.
you put in what you pay for in a sense too. So
Yeah.
since we started charging for it, we're getting like people are more active in there, and the people that are paying are taking it a little bit more seriously, right? I think we had 22 or 20. at some point that were free, and like
Hmm.
four of them were actually active and engaged and coming to coaching calls.
Yeah.
And since we've started charging, it's like, okay, that engagement rate has gone through the roof. Well, it's because these people have now swiped their credit card or paid for
Hmm.
it, you know?
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, I might as well, I got to put in the work. I'm paying for this. Otherwise, and we tell people that, like, look, if you're not going to put in effort and you're not going to set aside for at least coming to a coaching call,
Hmm.
coming to the coffee hour, coming into the community and actually putting your wins and sharing your struggles and things like that. That's how we help. That's how you're going to get the value. If you're not going to do that, we don't, not that we don't want to, I want to help you, but don't pay for this because you're not going to
Yeah.
get what's worth, out of it. Just come join the free Facebook group and hop in when you feel like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that I think people that aren't involved in this have trouble with is like, why are you making me pay for this? Well, because it's kind of like a filter, like a paywall.
Mhm.
I think Pace always says Walmart customers versus Costco customers, which
Right.
one's better? I mean, I would say they're both not that great, but
Yeah.
but Costco, there's like a different, I guess, a different level because you're paying a
Yeah.
membership.
Right. Yeah, that's I didn't think that really until I've experienced it now. They say like
Mhm.
you don't know, and until you go out and take the action, which you know, kind of tying that going out and taking action, and it's like you're not going to know that these things don't work or people don't think that way until you go out and try to do the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know step three until I go out and take step one.
Right.
And maybe I
Yeah.
think step two is going to be this, but until I go take step one, I'm like, oh, whoa, step one, two was way off. It's funny, we were just talking about it on our coffee hour that one of the guys is making a maker space. So like woodworking and metalworking, and it's just going to
Mhm.
be this warehouse, and he's going out and getting funding for it from banks. And he thought that like if I put this thing together, the banks are going to give me a loan. And 2 months or 3 months in, he's like, "Oh no, I was way off. I got to go back to square one." But he wouldn't have known that if he hadn't gone and tried to take the action and, hey, here's my presentation. No,
Yeah.
like, or I could just sit on online and Google things all day and never actually put anything to work. I think it's Creighton that said, and it probably wasn't his quote, but knowing and not doing isn't knowing.
Yeah.
Like you gotta go out and put the action in. That's how you really ingrain the knowledge into your brain, into your system, right? And that's how you're going to learn what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was doing the Burr method, everything was long distance and I had a
mm,
full gut, right? And figured, okay, take it down to the concrete. It was a row home in Baltimore. And then we were spending all this money on like fixing the electrical and the plumbing. And then thinking about it, this is why people don't do full guts because you're doing all this work that no one's going to pay for. It's not like they can see the brand new plumbing
yeah.
or see the brand new electrical. So I just never did that again.
Mm,
But I would have known that had I not just gone and done it.
right. Yeah. Like what, and I mean, it's the shiny object syndrome thing or the shiny object thing. I don't want to discourage you from going and trying new things.
Mhm.
Because you have to go try it to find out, oh, I don't want to be replacing plumbing and electrical because I don't feel like there's a good return for that, right? Or,
Mhm.
well, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
if you don't go out and do it, if you don't give it a try, you don't know that I don't want to do it. So
Mhm.
I don't want to say that if you're freaking making direct to seller calls for a week and you're absolutely miserable, that you should do it for 3 months. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want to be doing something you're absolutely miserable doing because you're not going to stick with it for 3 months. Realize after that first week, this isn't for me, but go find something that you're going to stick with now. The thing is, like, you just don't want to be jumping around willy-nilly just because you haven't had success.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, how because I've done wholesale, I've done land flipping, Burr method, tried flips, right? I've tried all these different things, and if you look back at it, it's like, well, you didn't stick to one thing. Well, I didn't stick to it because I did it, I didn't like it, not
Yeah.
that I didn't enjoy that challenge, right? That's not the
Yeah.
type of thing that I want to do.
Right.
And so, yeah, you saying that don't do it because don't stop doing it because or keep doing it even if you don't succeed in the beginning if you enjoy it.
Right.
But stop doing it if you absolutely
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that kind of came back
Yeah.
through into the conversation because yeah, you don't want to be sticking, you don't want to be doing something that you hate doing. Like that's not where we're entrepreneurs. That's not why
Yeah.
we are doing what we do. Yeah, there's going to be times where I do stuff that I'm not really interested in doing.
Mm,
But like my wife is, she does not want, she's my business partner at the high level, right?
yeah.
COO. She does
Hmm.
not want to be talking to, she doesn't want to be talking to sellers. She doesn't want to talking to agents. She really like even calling and talking to title companies. She doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
She's not interested. Like, she doesn't want to
Right.
be on the phone. If I said, "Hey, we're gonna start making phone calls tomorrow," she's, I'm done. Like, no, you're not gonna pull her teeth to do that. So don't do that if that's not your, if your thing, if that's not gonna get you up and get you excited.
Mm,
I love talking to people. I like talking to sell. That's one thing that I miss is talking to sellers and like feeling like I'm able to help somebody out that just doesn't have a way out. They're, they feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place in a sense. And I can come in and go, no, check this out. Like we have these options for you by asking the questions and digging into their pain and what's actually motivating them. I miss that, but
mm.
no, it's not for everybody. That's for sure. And if it's not for you, like, yeah, I'm glad this came back. Don't do it. Don't do it anymore. There's something out there that you can do. There's a lot of ways to make money in real
Mm.
estate and in just business in general and entrepreneurship. Find that thing that you can get excited about and go solve people's problems.
Yeah, a lot of times I see people say, "Oh, I'm new. I don't know what to do. Like, where can I go?"
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that's really underrated is understanding your own experience, what you enjoy doing, and what your
Mhm.
strengths are. That'll eliminate a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we tend to think like, kind of going back to the imposter syndrome a little bit, but when you're starting out, oh, I don't have any value. Like
Mhm.
BS, dude. What
Yeah,
what have you done up until this point? Like even
right.
if all I've done is play sports my whole life. Okay, so you can work well with a team. Or
Hmm.
you have, let's say you were a tennis player and so you
Hmm.
didn't work with a team. Like, well, did you have some discipline that took to become a good tennis player? Like those are values
Consistency.
that
Yeah.
yeah, like so let's not be hard on ourselves and think that we don't have any value to give. Yeah, maybe you
Right.
don't understand real estate yet, or you don't know how to talk to a private money lender. Those are things that you learn along the way by going out and doing. But you've
Right.
done something up until this point, even if you've just made it to 18 years old. Like, hey, congrats, dude, you're an adult now. You know?
Everything can be viewed as an achievement.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. By looking at where we've come from,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, gap and gain. I'm a
Yeah.
big proponent about the gap and gain. I I talk to people a lot about that because I think from a like mindset perspective as an achiever, it's probably one of the biggest it's probably one of the biggest switches you can make and just be
Mhm.
happier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because we tend to like view our own experience and our own achievements as, well, I did it, no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the gap in the gains really helped.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess now looking back, what's some advice you'd give to yourself when you're first just getting started?
Um, Probably time auditing myself earlier on, seeing where I was not being efficient with my time or spending time in things that are not moving the needle. I guess even to go a step backwards is having a clearer goal that we were trying to accomplish rather than, oh, I just want to buy real estate, right? Like having a very clear goal allows you to go back and do your time audit and realize, okay, these things are not getting me to my goal.
Mhm.
Having a really clear vision allows you to say no to a lot of other things. So that's probably something that I would I would tell myself earlier on as like focus on the personal development, focus on the mindset stuff, focus on the goal setting, and like all that other stuff comes once you have those. Like once you have a clear vision and once your mind is right and focused on this one thing that you're going after, all the other stuff comes. It, if you would have told me what is 2016, 2017, so 8 years ago at this point, like 7, 8 years ago, that I would have spent, you know, tens of thousands of dollars on personal development and mindset coaching and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. That's silly. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But the I, and I, we've made money. The ROI is there. But just from a happiness perspective, a being able to, as soon as we hang up, or as soon as we're done with this podcast today, John, I'm gonna go have lunch with my kids, right? I'm gonna have lunch with my family. We sit down as a family. I, I may have felt pulled in other directions previously, but I know
Mhm.
now that I I have all my things on my plate for the day, that when I go sit down with my family, I can I can focus on that because I know that other things are going to get done, after the kids go to down for
Mhm.
nap. I feel like that was a hard segue maybe into time, but yeah,
No, but that's helpful because I think, for those that aren't in investing, aren't real estate investors, or just investors in general, um, we're kind of viewed as uh greedy, like we're trying to make all this money to, I don't know, have more money. But
yeah,
it's really just about being able to have lunch with my kids, have breakfast, have dinner with the kids,
yep,
not have to go travel for work if I didn't want to.
yeah,
Being able to take them to aerial arts classes or gymnastics classes or,
yep,
all that. So,
yeah, yeah. It's a um, there's this entrepreneurial podcast that I used to listen to. The guy's name is Jason Stapleton, and he put like being financially free as being able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. I think there was one more, but without regard for the cost of it.
mhm. Yeah.
And like,
Mhm.
you know, that really right there is why I'm doing what we're doing. Do I want to
Mhm.
just be going blowing money on silly things? No, because I want everything to be efficient.
Mhm.
But to be able to say, like, my kid comes up to me and says, "Hey, Dad, I want to go build a fort with you." Okay, let me look at my calendar. Do I have anything right now? Nah, let's go build a fort, dude. I don't have a call with John that I need, be respectful of his time as well.
Mhm.
That's not to say that I'm just gonna mess around with the kid all day, right? I
Yeah.
have I
Mhm.
have times for that, but can I move maybe my playing with him time from later to now and shift something back that should have been happening now to when that was going to be? Because
Mhm.
for him, hey, we're going to play with this later. No, I want to play with it now. That's like I'm
Yeah.
in the present. I'm so in the present. I'm a 4-year, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we do what we do. Like my neighbor asked me the other day because we live out kind of in the country. And so
Mhm.
we're one of the only people that go out and walk. It's
Mhm.
very rare to see somebody else walking like their dog or,
Mhm.
walking on the kids. And one of our neighbors is like, "Do you even work, dude?" Like, yeah, I work really hard actually. I've been up since 4:30 this morning working. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, because I just see you out here all the time." Like, yeah, we're very consistent, like in the time that we're out there. So you see
Mhm.
me out there pretty similar time. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I just a couple of things. Well, one thing I just noticed is I like your background, how you have California, Oklahoma, and
oh
South
yeah,
Carolina.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing is yeah, waking up early. You hear a lot of these people that are doing really well wake up early, and I took a break from it for the holidays, but starting back on Monday, waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, it just extends your week by so much. I think when I did it, it was Tuesday felt like Thursday, Wednesday felt like Friday, but it was just you're able to spend so much more time just doing things that you need to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the and I'll butcher the quote, but it's like nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
Um and you know, no real solid work gets done, at least for me, after like, 8 p.m., 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And there are people that's not the case. Like I get my best work done from 9 to midnight. Like, oh, good on you. But for me and for a lot of other people out there, getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and getting to work, or at least like doing something that's enhancing my day right then,
Mm.
especially as dads, before the
Mm.
kids wake up at 7.
Yeah.
I get 2 hours of work in before the kids are awake. I
Yeah.
get 2 hours of work in before most people are awake. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
like what it's that's those are the things that set you apart over a year, 3, 5 years, right? The
Yeah.
consistency in that. Just I was I've changed my morning a little bit after listening to Alex Hormozy a lot now. Is it
Mm,
like he's a big proponent of just like getting up and getting to work. I go get my coffee and I get to work. I'm not a
mm,
coffee drinker, but
yeah.
um, I we hear about this morning, the miracle morning and the morning routine, and I'm now kind of meshing the two together a little bit and still having a morning routine, but after I've gotten a nice time block of work done. So I usually
Mm,
get like an hour and a half, and then I'm gonna go, okay, let me get some stretching and some a little bit of exercise, and
yeah.
I don't want to go into too much bathroom detail.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the struggles too, because yeah, I don't live in a giant house. So then if I make breakfast first thing in the morning, I don't
Mm.
want to wake anybody else up. So I just
Yeah,
get some water or
yeah,
some mushroom coffee. I don't know if you've had mushroom coffee, it
okay.
was pretty good.
No,
Um,
yeah. If it smells or tastes at all like coffee, I'm not like I don't know. There's just coffee flavor doesn't do it for me. So
yeah.
I'm a big tea drinker, but yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Um, well, Nathaniel, thank you so much for coming on. How can people reach out to you and how can people
yeah.
work with you?
Yeah, the best way is to go to NathanielHovsepian.com. Um, I have it written there, so you can try to type it in.
Uh,
Maybe it'll be in like your show notes or something
it'll
too.
be in the description, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, this has if it has the social media channels that I'm active on, it has my YouTube channel on it. It has we didn't talk about it, but I am a helper. I
Mm,
have a weekly Zoom called Helping Hands Hour. Just if you're trying to get deals done, if you're at a point in your business that you're struggling and you need somebody to talk it through with,
mm,
go there and you can register for that there. That's what it's a free Zoom. Just I'm in there every week. Sometimes there's one person in there and they get like a one-on-one. And yeah, today's Friday. Yesterday we had 10 people in there, right? 10,
yeah.
yeah. So come in there, and then also, we kind of mentioned a little bit the Fit Fatherhood community. That's something that Zach and I are really passionate about. We're trying to get this thing to 500 members in 2025. We're looking at like a sub two community in a sense that
Mm,
like this is a community of people that are all striving around taking control of their health and wellness and fitting it in. We called it Fit Fatherhood for a reason. Like
mm,
we're fitting it into fatherhood. We're fitting this stuff into our busy lives. And so
yeah.
what are the little things that we can do and tweak to make that happen? So that's on there as well. Um, but yeah, you're probably just looking for social medias. That's the place to go.
Well, I'm very interested in that Fit Fatherhood too, because I actually turned my dining room into a gym.
Oh yeah.
Just so it's like right there, I can just walk over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely we'll look into that. And the coaching stuff too. I've only been running my own business for like 4 years, and this is the farthest I've ever gotten.
Mm.
So it's a struggle, but would like to hear from more experienced individuals like
Well,
yourself.
like, and that just kind of like sub two is, right? We're looking at Pace as, he's the leader of the community in a sense, but there's so many other people in the community that we're learning from,
Mhm.
just right below him, right below them. And so
Yeah.
like that's why we want to grow this thing out is because Zach and I are just two people and
Mhm.
we have our two perspectives and 95% we're alike. We have a couple little things that we differ on. And that's what's cool is because there's not one way to go about it.
Yeah.
There's not like a best way. There isn't like
Mhm.
there's not a get fit quick scheme. It's like you still got to put in the work and you still got to put in the effort. But if you have a community of supporting community of like-minded people around you that can lift you up when you're feeling down or like give you little techniques and things or just like hold you accountable for, hey, I set this goal for myself. Hey, are you doing your daily things that are going to get you to that goal, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, appreciate you having me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for coming on. We'll make sure to have everything in the description to
Yep.
make it easier for people to reach out to you.
Awesome.
It was great talking to you and meeting you.
Yeah, you as well. And you're going to come on mine in a couple weeks, actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, take care.